Chris Mannix on NBC Sports Boston. Spurs are the team to watch for Jaylen Brown. They're a contender next year if they add Jaylen to Wemby, Fox, Castle. They're a contender in the West. Celtics wouldn't do the deal without the number 2 pick. Dylan Harper is the name that he highlights. We've also highlighted Ace Bailey. Those are the 2 players at Rutgers that couldn't get Rutgers to the NCAA tournament last year.
That's a red flag for me.
It's a scarlet flag is what it is.
Thank you.
For the Rutgers players. But you wouldn't get Cooper flag. You would get the next pick. You would get, thank you. You wouldn't get Cooper flag. You would get a red flag in the draft. Well said. Jaylen Brown for the number 2 pick? No?
I'm not doing it because...
What if they throw in a Devin Vassell? And or a Keldon Johnson?
Keep them both. Keep all those guys. I think it's a different story if, like, the Tatum injury was a career ender, or if Tatum was a free agent in, like, a year or something like that, and there's uncertainty on if Tatum is ever even going to return. But in my head, Tatum's out for a year, then he comes back, and he's going to be whatever he is, 27, 28 years old, and he'll be back, fingers crossed that he's close to what he was. I don't want Tatum returning to a team without Jaylen Brown, without Porzingis, without Holiday, probably without, definitely not Horford. And then you're like, hey, but we got you Dylan Harper, who's going to be like 19. That sounds terrible. And he might be good. Like, I do think it's a red flag that he and Bailey couldn't make the tournament. Like,
2 of them
Markelle
especially.
Fultz couldn't make the tournament. Ben Simmons couldn't make the tournament.
It's bad that
2 of them is
one
insane.
guy couldn't do it.
Yeah.
2
That's
McDonald's All-Americans go to a place like Rutgers. Not exactly a basketball powerhouse.
No, but who cares? 2 guys.
Although, Quincy Doobie may have something to say about that. But, it's not exactly...
2 guys should be able to go to Northeastern or go to, anywhere and make the tournament.
Every college just about makes the tournament these days.
Right.
So how did they not get in? It's embarrassing.
So I don't love that. But let's just say even they end up being really good players, I want Tatum and Brown back together in another year. So I'm not slamming the door on every Jaylen Brown trade. We had last week we were talking about Cooper Flagg for Jaylen Brown. I'm doing that. I like Flagg a lot more than I like the Rutgers guys. So I would do that. I also think he's going to be, like an all-star quicker than those 2 guys. Meaning like Tatum could return to a guy who's already had a full season, kind of playing, Derek White and a couple other guys. And by year 2, maybe you have a real budding all-star at that point. That's way more appetizing than this deal. I feel like you're really, really punting on next season. And then it's like a big question mark for the following season. So I'm a no on that.
So hang on real quick.
I get why the Spurs would do it. I think for the Spurs, that would make a ton of sense.
So just because we were talking about this list yesterday, and I also would not trade Jaylen for the number 2 pick. Number 1, Cooper Flagg, in. Looking at the rankings, we did this ringer list yesterday, and we kind of focused on it more as, well, the Celtics have 6 guys in the top 100, but cross Tatum off. He's 10th for some reason on this list, even though he's not going to play.
I'm not sure how they come up with a list, but whatever.
I'm sure they'll update it closer to the start of next year as well, although it was updated on...
yesterday.
Thank you. Updated on June 4th. So they still have 5 other guys, not named Jason Tatum, in the NBA's top 100.
Top 90.
Thank you. Jalen's at 21, all the way down to Peyton Pritchard at 89. So I just Googled it real quick, or searched for it real quick. Stephon Castle is 40. And it's like, you can't get Stephon Castle for Jaylen Brown, which I wouldn't even do that. I don't want Stephon Castle.
I don't either.
Rookie of the year. I like him.
But Rookie of the Year in a horrible rookie class.
Right. And look, I was there for the Wemby game last year, Bragg.
Wow.
And Castle was really good in that game. I like Stephon Castle. But I don't want him for Jaylen Brown. I'd rather have Jaylen Brown. I don't want the number 2 pick for Jaylen Brown. But what interests me about that commentary from Chris Mannix is that there's a team to watch for Jaylen Brown. Like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why is there a team to watch? Why is there a Jaylen Brown sweepstakes? Why are we gaming all of this out? And so how serious are the Celtics about fielding offers for Jaylen Brown? He had another comment here, and I'll pull it up for you.
But ask yourself this.
Something along the lines of like, the whole NBA is just waiting to see how deep the cuts are going to go. Here you go. Right. Teams are waiting to see just how deep the cuts Boston is going to cuts with Boston are going to go. That's what Mannix said yesterday. So teams are waiting. They're like, are we talking about Sam Hauser? Are we talking about Drew Holiday and Porzingis? Or are we talking about Jaylen? I mean, teams are lining up waiting for that. And Mannix told you there's a team to watch, which means to me on some level, the Celtics are considering moving Jaylen Brown.
So Brad Stevens is, had this job for a couple of years. He's made a lot of trades, and he's won all of them, right? Like, pretty much. I think he's won all of his trades. Like, you can go back and look at it and be like, oh, well, Aaron Nesmith's like a good player.
Yeah, that's
like,
one.
I think if you do like the butterfly effect and sort of like where that trade then led to whatever, I think he's done a really good job with the roster. However, do you think Jaylen Brown is somebody that he would trade with everything going on right now with Tatum? Either way, I feel like this guy, he's had Brown's entire career. Either he's coached him or he's been in the front office. And there have been Kevin Durant. He wouldn't trade him for Kevin Durant. Now he's going to trade him for Stephen Castle.
It's a good point.
So I don't think
Or Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper.
I don't think so.
Or no. Ace, what's his name?
Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. No.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's going to, whatever. Right, this is a good point, though.
Yeah.
He wouldn't trade him for Durant. He wouldn't trade him for Jimmy Butler, Paul George, whatever million names we've gone over the years, most of which I would have done. Guilty hands up.
Yeah.
Now you're trading him for the number 2 pick, and it's not Cooper Flagg?
I don't think so. And you could argue that, the Tatum injury might change the equation a little bit. But if he's coming back and both guys will still be under 30 when he returns, I'm not running away from it and trying to grab the second pick in the draft.
Me neither. Text line puts it well. Guys, if Jalen's so valuable, why are we always trying to get rid of him?
Well, I've kind of stopped. Honestly, I've kind of stopped. I was early on in his career. The last 2 years, I've not been involved. I stopped with the Kevin Durant thing even a couple of years ago. I was like, I'm keeping Jaylen Brown. I just think the Tatum injury, and then just because we were playing GM, and you're like, all right, if the Mavericks moved on from number 1, would you do it? You're like, okay, well, now you're talking about one of the most valuable pieces just based on age, contract, and everything else, like in the NBA. Like, that's going to be one of the more valuable players, and he could end up being a bust or whatever, but Cooper Flagg going into next year, because that Ringer top 100 is just like how they rank the players. Simmons always does every year his like trade
value.
That's a different chart, right?
Yep.
Like, that's not a power ranking as much because you might have an older player ranked way lower.
Jalen's
Cooper Flagg's going to be towards the top of the whole thing.
He will be, and Jalen will be way lower on that
Right,
list than
right,
on the
right,
player
right,
list
right.
because of the money he makes and, age and everything
Yeah.
else. So, no, I think part of the reason for years and years I was on board anyway with trading Jaylen Brown is because I wasn't sure it was going to work with him and Tatum. Then it did. So I backed off it as well. But Cooper Flagg, I think, is a different level of prospect. And I think the Tatum injury complicates some of that, too. It's like, what's it going to look like when Tatum comes back? So I'm not itching to trade him. I'm not doing it for the number 2 pick. You can throw in all your Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnsons that you want. I don't even want Stephon Castle, who apparently the Spurs wouldn't put on the table. But Mannix does think there is a team to watch in the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes, which means on some level the Celtics are listening. So what do you make of that? You can jump in. 617-779-7937.